Hello everyone, this is Sudi Burnett and I would like to welcome you all to my show Body, Mind and Spirit. For those of you who are watching this program for the first time, I am a personal trainer, life coach and a healer. And I always say after when I say what I do that this is my identity, and eventually I think when we are going towards soul growth and we are awakening, we just let go of all those identity. Who am I? I am really a spiritual being who is trying to have a human experience on earth. So in today's program, I am going to talk about the challenges we have as human beings. As I mentioned before, I have been working as a life coach and trying to help people when they get stuck in their life, that what is stopping them from moving ahead? What is disabling us to be achieving our goals, to be happy, to be excited, to have joy, to feel fulfilled every single day? Is it possible? Because a lot of time when we ask people, they are like, well, it's not possible to be happy and excited and enlightened and enjoy at all time. And I have to tell you that yes, you can. There is a secret, and once you start to know the secret, well, actually it's not a secret anymore, because if you are walking toward the spiritual path, we keep hearing it at all time. And when I life coach with people, or when I do healing, or even when I'm starting to train with people, I always ask them, so what's going on in your life? At the beginning, I need to understand who is this person? What are their challenges? What are their beliefs? If I don't really know what disabling them, then I'm not going to be able to help them on a long term. Because if my goal is to be skinny and a size 2, I can just go on a diet and starve myself and achieve my goal. I don't need a trainer, right? So that's not the goal. The goal is that I achieve my ideal body weight in a healthy way, not to be anorexic, but I am healthy and my mind and my emotions are healthy. I have a healthy approach towards my body, towards what I'm eating, the way I look at food, the way I feel about food, and all that, okay? So generally, I did that in my Farsi show. For those of you who don't speak Farsi, I'm going to repeat myself in English so you will know and become familiar a little bit about life coaching. And as I mentioned before, I believe we all need a life coach. We all get stuck when it comes in our own dilemma, our own challenges. We are all excellent preachers. We can coach, we can be a coach for others, but we cannot really solve our own problem or our challenges. So I talk about, I'm going to actually change that. I'm going to talk about one of the life coaching that I did this past week. This is a lady that she's almost close to 50 years old. She was just being challenged with breast cancer. And when we got in our session, I told her to come prepared to wear comfortable shoes so we can go and have a long walk and hike. So when we got together, we started walking. The first thing I said to her, I said, okay, when you start walking, you want to pay attention to a few things. You want to always start putting your feet from heel and then roll to the toes. The reason we always concentrate on being on our heels and then roll to the toes has two main reasons. Number one is when I'm using my heels first, I'm taking the extra pressure off my knees. The second reason why I'm trying to stay on my heels is because I start using my back muscles and my buttocks more, okay? Number two is I start smiling, because whatever my facial expression is going to release a different chemicals in my brain, right? And you might know that they did a study a couple of years ago that they took like about 100 or more than 100 people who were manically depressed, and they made them to smile, like grind, that they start having wrinkles on their eyes for 21 days or a month, I can't quite remember. And they didn't change anything else. They were still eating the same thing. They were still doing the same thing. They weren't on medication or anything else. Just by smiling for 21 days, their depression starts to fade away. Why is that? Because as I mentioned before, however I hold my body, like for instance right now, if I ask you, how do you know someone has depression? How do you describe, how do they hold their body? You all know that they are not sitting straight. They are kind of bending down, and they are frowning, and their face is kind of together, right? So we all know that automatically. As a result, the way I hold my body, the way I hold my facial expression will change the chemical in my brain. So therefore, when you walk in, you want to smile the whole time. At the beginning, you might not feel it, but after 15, 20 minutes, or maybe 30 minutes, not only your brain starts to release a huge amount of endorphin and all of that good stuff to make you happy and cheerful, but also your facial expression, if you're smiling, is just going to send that chemical more and more in your body, okay? So number three, what you want to pay attention as you walk in is your breathing. Breathing is a major part. So I would like to inhale deeply, really deep, and then as I exhale, I let go of all that monoxide that I just changes through my body chemistry, okay? So breathing is very important. So when I start training and I tell people to do this and this and that, they are like, oh my God, it's too many things, I can't remember it all. I'm like, it's okay, don't worry about it. I keep repeating myself. And this is like when you start drive, do you guys remember when you start driving a stick shift the first time? There were too many things to remember. Oh, I have to put my foot on the pedal, and then I have to hold this, and then I have to gear, and then when I want to change gear, I put my foot on the gas and then change gear to a higher gear. And it was too much. I have to constantly be in my head and think about what I'm doing. I had to be awake or aware of what I was doing. But what happened after a couple of weeks, it just becomes automatic because your subconscious will start to pick it up. Now when you're driving a stick shift, you don't even have to be there. You're just probably in a state of hypnosis. You start from one location and you make it somewhere else, and you're not really thinking about it, right? So this is the same thing when you're exercising. You keep on breathing deeply. You hold your stomach tight in. You start to be on your heel instead of being on your toes. And then after a while, you will remember everything become automatic. So we start walking, and then we started to hear what's going on in this lady's story. And the first thing I ask is, why do you think you got breast cancer? So spiritually, we always say, what is breast? Basically, is a nourishing part, right? It's part of femininity. It's part of nourishing and all that. So generally, we would say if you have, the first thing you would ask, are you having problem with your mother? And most of the time, the answer is yes. Sometimes the answer could be even no. In this case, it was no. And when we start talking a little further, and I asked her, I said, so when your parents were, when your mother, you were a wound and your mother was going to give you birth, was she happy about this birth? And she goes, oh no, she wasn't, because later on she told me that we didn't want to have children anymore and da-da-da, right? So, and then I told her, I explained to her that, you know, even if you're just in your mother's stomach. You're going to feel and experience all that emotion, everything that she's going through. So that's when the children start to get their first blockage before they even enter this world, right? So then we moved on, and she explained to me that she always wanted to be pursuing a career that it was artistic, and it was never ever something that was approved through her parents or the community. Because unfortunately, even today, the way we look at artists is something we automatically connect being an artist with being poor. Like, you cannot make money if you're an artist, right? So this is the assumption we picked up, that artists cannot make money or they cannot be rich or anything like that. So as a result, we always think if my feeling is more towards painting or drawing or, I don't know, playing a music, that should be a side job, but it can't be my permanent job. So when you look at this a little deeper, what kind of feeling that creates in me? When my passion is towards something, and my whole community and my family and everyone that is around me that I'm so searching to gain their approval, they are against it. So I'm letting go a part of me, my passion. What is passion? Passion is actually what drives me, what gives me excitement, what gives me joy, right? So when I let go of that and I just kill that, what happens basically? A part of me dies. And that's not a little part. So now I have to settle down for something that I don't love and I don't care. Okay? So is that going to make me a happy person, or is that going to make me unhappy? Obviously, it's going to make me an unhappy person. So when I don't like something, what's going to happen? Am I going to stick to it? Am I going to put my 100% in it? Am I going to wake up every day excited and say, gosh, I love to go and sit in the office and calculate all day long? So when I'm not excited about it, that's going to make me a dissatisfied and unhappy person. And have you guys noticed that research when they said, when they did a study to find out what was #1 cause of death in the US, and everyone thought it was heart attack, they realized that was wrong. The #1 reason for the heart attack in the US was job dissatisfaction, okay? Because when I'm dissatisfied with something, what kind of energy and vibration I'm in, positive or negative? Am I excited? Am I enjoy and blessed? Obviously, I'm not. So what is that going to do? That's going to make me to keep changing career. When I keep changing career, how do I look from the outside world? How does my community that is so important to me look at me, and how does that make me feel? I feel like a failure because I'm doing this and then everybody else is like, oh my God. Then it starts becoming a joke. Weren't you doing that like last week? Oh my God, don't tell me you're going to change again. So that's going to make me to start doubting everything. I'm not going to be believing in myself. What happened when I lose my belief? I'm going to start to feel bad. Eventually, I'm going to lose my self-esteem. And as time goes by and I continue going through this, hearing everybody who is around me that she can never stick to a job and she can never, I'm going to build up another belief that I'm not stable. I'm not good at what I'm doing. I cannot make decisions. So that's one of the reasons a lot of time I get hired as a life coach, because people start losing interest on what they are doing, and then they're constantly changing. So after a while, it builds up in my system or in my mechanism that I cannot make a decision. I get stuck because no longer I can trust myself. So when we backtrack all of this, where is it going from? It goes back to the first passion that I have towards my painting or towards my drawing, and I didn't follow that. As a result, I became a dissatisfied person. As a result, I keep changing and moving, being unhappy, being unhappy, being unhappy, and then I lost the trust on myself, and everybody else started to add it into that. So I asked this lady, I said, okay, so when I'm in that feeling of disbelief, am I believing that there is another force in this life that is totally caring and taking care of me? No, of course not. I start to go into, little by little, I start going into depression. I become heavier and heavier. When I become heavier, that negative energy, is it going to be easy? Do I feel light when I'm depressed, or do I become heavy? When I become heavy, what kind of energy am I carrying around me? Is it positive or is it negative? It's negative. So when my energy is negative, how does my outer world see me, and how are they receiving me? When I go somewhere, am I being treated with a lot of attention? Does everybody want to be next to someone who's depressed? Of course not. So how is that going to be related to my relationship? I can attract other people, but they're not going to be staying in my life because people don't want to be around people who are depressed, right? So everything is going back, if you backtrack it, to not following what my passion was, what my heart was going towards it. So when we solved that, then I asked her, I said, how would it be if today you start going after what you always loved to do? Would you be willing? She says, oh my God, it's always been in my head. I always thought that what I can do if I was drawing. So I said, have you even tried to do that part-time? She says, no. I said, can I ask you why you haven't done it? She says, because I thought for me it's black or white, is all or nothing. This is another area when we have problem with, that we are either, it has to be here or there. There's no line in between. We cannot just be flowing in between things. So I explained to her, I said, if you would have paint, even if it wasn't like weekdays, just on your weekend, for your enjoyment, for your energy to be recharged, if you would have paint and draw, you wouldn't become so unhappy and dissatisfied with everything else that you were doing. So we made a deal that from now on, she is going to start to paint and draw. Is she going to make money at the beginning? We don't know that. She probably not going to make money at the beginning. But if she is not going to make that money, what is stopping her? What is holding her back? What is always in general hold us back from not being successful in what we have? You probably heard it from me before, you probably heard it from other people, is the belief that we have. Whatever I believe, it becomes my manifestation. I would manifest whatever I believe when I'm certain that this will come in my life. Okay? So if it's in my belief is that I can never become an artist, or I can never become a successful artist, but oh my God, I'm almost getting close to 50. So I should have done that when I was 20, right? So this is what I want to tell you, and I tell everyone that I work with. Draw a map. When you draw a map, just make a circle and put an X at the bottom and put an X on top. The X that's at the bottom is you and where you are right now at this moment. The X on top is where you need to go, is your outcome, where you go, where you want to be. Okay? So is there only one way for you to get from where you are to where you want to go? Of course not. There is 10 or 100 other ways to reach that. Of course, there could be a way that is going to be much quicker if you just take that road and go straight up. How could you do that? To save money and not to take all this side road that is going to delay your dream or your desire, is by modeling someone else who has done and got where you are already. Okay? So for instance, I want to become a very successful hostess. Who do I admire and desire? Let's say I desire Oprah, right? Because everybody else knows Oprah. So what do? I go and study her biography. I'm going to study her. I'm going to see what she did. I'm going to see how she felt. I want to know as much as I can about her. How did she get there? So there is always a road for successful people. And successful people, trust me, they're not trying to hide it. They are delighted to share their ideas, to tell you how they made it to where they made it. They all written books. There is plenty of stuff. So from going from there to shorten the length is by modeling someone who has already done what you want and achieved what you want. Now, the other thing that we get stuck is, like I said, our beliefs and the hows. How am I going to make it from here to there? Every time I work with someone, after we find out, we make it clear, and they are certain that this is what they want to do and this is what they want to become, then start all those questions about how. How am I going to make it? So when I start thinking, how am I going to make it there? Is the question how with certainty or is it with doubts? Obviously it's doubt. Because when I say, how am I going to make it? What I'm saying is I have a 50-50 chance to make it. So I need to find a way. But if I start to believe that my part is only to get started and let that ball to roll, and then my job will be to step out and allow that energy force. What's going to happen when you roll a ball? It's going to keep rolling by itself. It doesn't need you to follow it and keep pushing it, right? So the only thing after you roll a ball is for you to stand aside and let the ball to move and get to where it needs to get, right? But this is where we get stuck. That I think, okay, this is what I want to do, and this is my goal, and this is my dream, and this is my desire, but how am I going to do it? How am I going to make it? And as, who is it? When you always hear in the spiritual gurus, they always say that the how is not your job. The how will come, and that's the universe's job. So your job is to decide what is it that you want, to become clear, to be certain that you are going to reach it no matter what, you're going to get there, to have certainty, to get this road moving, to start it, to take action, and then stay away, step aside, and allow this to move, allow the universe. So the allowing is where we have a problem. So when you always hear about law of attraction, you always read the Bible, it says, ask and you shall receive. So why aren't we receiving? Why isn't it that everything that I want already exists in my life? Why isn't that there? Because when I ask the question, I still have doubt. Is it? Is it not? Is it true? Is it not? And then I have a lot of stuff that oh, it's not going to work, or maybe it's work, or I'm too old, and I'm too light, and I'm too fat, and I'm too tall, and I'm too short, and I'm this, and I'm that, but my mother never did it, and my grandparents did it. I have so many excuses not to make it there. But if I can let all that excuses to go away, and I, part 3, ask, you already receiving, is the allowing. What we're missing in the part of really reaching our goals or achieving our dreams and desires is because we miss the most important part of allowing the universe to give me my desire. Actually, those desires are already here. It's for me to open my eyes and being able to see what I have desired is already exist right here, right now. And my time is up, but I'm just going to close this. I want to mention it. I know you heard it 1,000 times. Let me say it to you one more time. There is nothing, absolutely nothing that you want, feeling, love, money, joy, bliss, whatever it is that you're after, you're not going to get it in the outside world. It's within. Everything that you desire already exists inside of you, not outside. That man and that charming lady and that charming guy and that beautiful, gorgeous, it is not going to give you the happiness you're after. The true happiness is within. And until you look for toys to fill you up or get you excited for a while, it's just going to be for a short time. But if you want everlasting contentment, joy, love, bliss, is within. So don't waste your time. Get within. Okay, guys, this is Sudi Burnett. Thank you so much for being with me. I hope this program was beneficial for those of you who want to check it out on my TV program. You can add me up on Facebook, Sudi Burnett, SUDIBURNETT on Facebook. Request a friendship and you will get accepted and you will be in. You can watch all the show. For those of you who are following my program on satellite dish, I will be starting another program at Omid Iran every Sunday, 3 p.m. Los Angeles time. And for all of you guys who want to purchase my DVDs or CDs, please visit my website, sudabeh.com, SUDABH.com. All my supplement, amino acid, multivitamin, enzyme, candida, detox, wheatgrass, barley grass. You can purchase all of those supplements on my website and all the DVDs and CDs. And for those of you who would like to hire me as your life coach, personal trainer, or you would like me to help you to remember that you are a healer and to heal yourself, you can either call me 310-877-7574, leave a message, or email me at sudiyazdi@yahoo.com. With much love and awakening, till next time, I love you.